Sophie Luckett, The Impact of Social Media on Breaking into the Music Industry. Episode 1. Duration 8 minutes and 23 seconds. Good morning, it's Saturday, it's the weekend, and you're listening to Radio 1. I'm Sophie Luckett, and this is The Breakfast Show.
BBC Radio 1. Where it begins.
That was One Kiss by Calvin Harris and Dua Lipa. So this weekend we're talking about BBC Three's new show, Follow, Like and Share. The series is about exploring the impact of social media on breaking into the music industry. So there's a heavy focus on musicians and how they market themselves and become successful. So this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we've got two special guests to talk about that show and how they've experienced social media in the music industry. So today we're here with a very special guest from Solent University in Southampton. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Bogdan Bratis. My stage name is Bratis, and I use this from when I came in the UK. And I'm a self-producing artist. I make electronic music, anything related to electronics, so anything that's sample-based, synth-based music. And I produce for, I guess, professionally for 3 years. But I started music a long time ago, so when I was just a little boy. So
let's get straight to it. What do you think? Is there a connection between social media and new artists that are climbing the charts nowadays? What are your thoughts?
So I believe that social media is very important in the music industries now. In the music industry nowadays, because the internet is taking over every day.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's very accessible to people, first of all. And as a musician, you need to be there. You need to have an online presence. You need to construct, for example, a website. You need to be everywhere, basically. If you don't really have something to say, I believe you won't get further. You won't get very far away. You're going to be maybe for a very short period of time there, but after that you're going to disappear.
And a lot of artists have disappeared. There are so many times where you see someone on one song in the charts and you never hear from them again, do you? So as someone who's still studying music, how do you use social media?
What I do is when I came in the UK, I didn't really before I came in the UK, because I'm from Romania, and I activated a lot there. But before I came here, I didn't have a very good online presence. That's for sure. The university helped me to build it and make me aware of it, actually, because I always underestimated the power of it. So what I've done in 2016, I built my first website.
Yeah.
And I started collecting emails, creating an email list. It's very important, I believe, because, for example, an email, many people say it's like obsolete platform. People don't use it anymore, but actually we use that so often, and what we have there is the most important things we care about. So if somebody gives you her email or his email, that means that person really cares about what you're doing. So what you're going to post is going to be only something that... So if they will open the email in the morning, they will see your post, they will click on it.
Yeah,
because the email is very personal. So, another good thing about it is that it has 100% reach, which Facebook doesn't. Because on Facebook, if you have 8,000 people that are following you, only 2% of these people will see your post if you don't pay.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, a very important fact to consider when you build your online presence and your following.
That's so interesting, because you're right. So many people don't bother with emails anymore, but it's so much harder to make people engage with you on Facebook because they just scroll right past it. You mentioned a little bit about having help from the university and what you've learned. Is a lot of your course about social media marketing?
Yes, it's actually one of the main things we learned in the first year. And I felt that last year, so in the first year, that was the most important thing I have learned here. The importance of this, of creating an online presence for yourself. Because if you have music, it needs to be heard. Yes, so most of the artists struggle to get their music out there. I'm at Popular Music Production here at Solent, but I consider myself an artist first and then a producer. So what I'm basically trying to do is produce myself. I love producing and performing at the same time, so I love both these fields. I was always wondering if I do the right thing, but maybe I should take a producer, or maybe I should stick to produce music for others.
Yeah.
But I started to realize that the music business, the music industry is going towards that direction when artists are producing themselves, because the technology is so available nowadays. So what I dream and what I would like to do is performing and produce my songs. This is every musician's dream.
Yeah, of course. And with what you're producing now, it's a pretty realistic dream. So one of the things that this new series on BBC Three is looking at is comparing how people use social media now to how artists, say, 30, 40 years ago became successful. Do you think social media and the internet is the only way forward?
The internet is taking over. I mean, is the TV and radio, they won't disappear. So as an artist, if you don't get on the radio, you still don't exist. But social media, it's gonna be, and it is actually already, another part where you can actually expand.
Very good point, particularly about radio. That's what we like to hear here at Radio 1. Now, let's talk about you. We're going to play your newest single. Tell us a bit more about it.
So, Liquid is my last single. It is like, for example, it is like mixture between pop music and electro pop, if you want. It has a very, if you want, a very hard synth in the chorus. It doesn't really have a chorus, if you want. It's like a bridge that goes to an instrumental hook. But I play this song with my band. It really has a very nice vibe live, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm proud of everything I work. Yeah, this song is about love. It's like comparing a couple. It's comparing a couple like being a fluid, if you want.
Brilliant. Can't wait to hear it. So thanks for coming on, Brattis.
Yes, thank you once again.
So next up, we've got, you guessed it, Liquid, the newest single from Brattis. Don't forget to check him out on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Have a look at BBC Three's new series, follow, like and share on YouTube or BBC iPlayer. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for part 2. Enjoy. Sophie Luckett, The Impact of Social Media on Breaking into the Music Industry, Episode 2, duration 9 minutes and 31 seconds.
If it feels like paradise running through your bloody veins, you know it's love heading your way. If it feels like paradise running through your bloody veins, you know it's love heading your way.
Good morning, it's Sunday, you're listening to Radio 1, I'm Sophie Luckett and this is The Breakfast Show.
BBC Radio 1.
So that was Paradise, a little bit George Ezra to start the day. We do love George Ezra here at Radio 1. Right, so this weekend we're talking about BBC Three's new show on iPlayer and YouTube called Follow, Like and Share. The series is about the impact of social media on the music industry. It focuses particularly on musicians and new musicians and how they're becoming successful and how we're seeing them rise up in the charts. So to talk about this show and to bring some light to some up-and-coming musicians, we've got guests on these two special shows. Yesterday we spoke to Brattis, and today we're talking to a band fairly new to the scene. They've just revamped and had a little rebrand. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
We're a band called Minus Alive, and I'm Ollie. I sing and play guitar.
I'm Max. I play bass, and I do some backing vocals.
I'm Robin. I drive the car, and play the guitar sometimes.
So let's keep this easy to start off with. BBC Three's new series is looking into the impact of social media on breaking into the music industry, specifically looking at new artists trying to become successful. Do you think there's a connection?
Social media is very much a very important way of just letting people know you exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's the easiest way to say, hello, we're here and we're doing stuff.
Yeah,
if you
of
don't have an
course.
active social media, then you will drop off quite quickly.
Yeah, it's become quite an integral part of being a musician these days. It's not like the days are sort of gone where you can go down to the local music shop or something and pick up tickets or find out what gigs are going on. Not only people want to go to venues and just find out new bands anymore, they want something easy, accessible.
Yeah.
It's a very easy way to market yourself.
It puts everyone on a level as well.
Mm.
It's much easier to communicate with fans.
You guys have said before that you've been in a bunch of bands over the last few years. Do you think the way to promote yourselves has changed? How different do you think music is compared to what it used to be?
There's a lot more competition now. Being able to play music has become a much more accessible thing. So there's a lot of saturation going on out there.
Yeah, and now it's like, guitars, instruments are cheaper. There's an easy way to sort of meet up with people. Lots of people can do it.
You can go on Facebook, make a page, call yourself a band.
Yeah.
And
But I think because of that, it's kind of like made it harder for a lot of bands to actually do anything with, especially with things being so easily accessible. Like,
Interesting. You're right, especially younger kids. Some of the school music departments have great opportunities for them to learn guitar or drums or anything they're interested in. And they're a generation that have grown up with social media as well. So with that in mind, do you think there are some people who are more social media savvy that are potentially taking away from more talented but not as good at marketing themselves? Is being good at promoting yourself online more important than being talented, especially in this younger generation where social media is part of what they've grown up with?
we have a very good example of this. I'm not going to name names, but like we've been away with a band before on tour who have had sort of their social media following is insane. Like they've got hundreds of thousands of followings on like Twitter and Instagram and everything, and so we sort of automatically assume that when we go away, then they're going to sort of every show is going to be packed because they've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of fans across the board. And this was like basing on page likes. So we'd not heard them, but we'd not seen them before. And then the first day of the tour was their 6th ever show, and they brought one guy to most shows, really. And it was just a bit of a sort of reality check because we've been sort of gearing ourselves in that whole, like you said, Facebook likes mean
validation.
Yeah, and it's completely false. Like you can, because obviously on the sort of blessing and the curse of sort of social media is you can be famous in that and not in real life.
And do you think that translates into professional success? Do you think producers or labels are more likely to be taken in by Facebook likes and online success?
Facebook likes are almost like currency with some things.
Yeah, like things like booking festivals, booking gigs, like
It's the first thing they see.
A lot of promoters, like I read a couple of interviews on this where they actually say, like from a festival promoters, most big festival promoters, if you're a sort of originals band looking like on our sort of level, like a small circuit band looking to get onto a festival, the first thing they look at is Facebook likes and sort of social media following. If you've not got a big one, they don't care. So you go like, if you've got 2,000, then cool, might consider you. We'll take a look at it. If you've got like a couple hundred, they're not going to bother. Could be the best music in the world.
The first thing festival promoters and some people will check is your Facebook likes. And the second thing they'll often check is engagement with things you put up.
Yeah.
So they'll look and say, you've got 1,000 likes and no one has liked any of your recent posts, or like one person has, and that's your mum.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, how do you guys use social media to make sure it's not just your mum that likes your posts?
So we've got multiple platforms, which is one of the best ways to do it now, because obviously there's so many social media platforms that are out there, it's hard to keep up with things
We
sometimes.
try to make it quite engaging. A lot of the posts aren't very serious, they're just sort of us in our everyday rehearsal space.
And we always found the posts that did better and that people responded more to were things that were relatable. So things that were a little bit funnier,
Yeah.
or just a little bit more real than, hey, we have a show coming up.
It goes back to the saturation thing as well, because there are so many shows happening all the time.
Things like Instagram and Twitter are quite good for engagement, because especially with the advent of things like hashtags. So you can go on Instagram or Twitter, put on a bunch of relevant hashtags, and people you've never met on the other side of the world will see it and go, that's kind of cool, maybe check out your music, maybe you've kind of made a connection there.
Yeah.
And that's always really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
in some ways it's
we've
better
seen
than
people
Facebook, I think.
come onto our page, we've seen people send us messages from the other side of the world, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Instagram does seem to be the way forward. I guess part of it is figuring out those algorithms and just getting yourself seen. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say, Max?
Okay. There is something I'd like to talk about because I think it is somewhat relevant. Is the way as a band you actually portray yourself, having like a consistent theme. So like we use a lot of red imagery, and that's not like a thing for always, but at the moment it's a good way to tie everything together. So we all have pictures of ourselves. We use just red background. We use for a lot of social media. We have most of our big cover photos, group shots are in red.
Yeah,
It's the difference between an identity and a persona. A band is persona, every member kind of has to fit into part of that, and you have to reflect that in everything you do and post. The content we put up, the things we say, we want it to be representative of the way we are. And it has to be a consistent thing. It needs to not be disjointed.
That's interesting. You're right. In the age of Instagram themes and filters left, right and centre, image is important, as it's always been. So at the heart of all this is music. We're going to be playing one of your new songs today. Do you want to tell us a bit about it?
It's called Not the Only One. It's a song that's very much what we sort of want our ethos as a band to be about. Now we're sort of starting up again of sort of we want a theme, we want something we can sort of relate to, and it's very much something we've all geared towards from personal experiences is we want to sort of be very much getting behind the whole mental health awareness movement and sort of the whole idea of the song Not the Only One is to make you it was kind of written to say that it's kind of an acceptance of sort of the whole mental health awareness thing that people suffer and things, and you might suffer, but you're not the only person in the world, and there are other people out there that can help, and there are other people out there you can sort of confide in, and
creating a connection.
We want to try and feel everyone's in this together. It's a very much almost like we had this sort of idea when we first started writing this EP that was like we're all sort of in this weird sort of limbo between university and adult life, and a lot of our sort of peers and a lot of our friend groups are all in the same thing, where it's not like the generation before us. We've sort of been stuck in this weird sort of place where life is not what we've been told it was going to be. We're not going to be getting good jobs straight away. We're not going to be getting married, getting a house straight away, and it's kind of left most people of our age group and sort of between 20 and 30 a bit like, what?
Disorientated.
And we want to sort of, it's a song for everyone like that, really.
So next up, we'll be listening to Not the Only One, new music from Minus Alive. Don't forget to check out all of their social media and see when they're next playing near you. But just before we do listen to their new song, we just wanted to say thank you to BBC Three for helping organise this special weekend. If you missed yesterday's interview with Brattis, don't forget to go and have a listen. All of the episodes of Follow, Like and Share are on BBC iPlayer and BBC Three's YouTube channel. If in doubt, go to bbc.co.uk/BBC3. Thank you, Minus Alive, for being here today. Thank you for listening. Here is Not the Only One.